Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and a very warm good evening from the UK. My name is Dr. Madalene Chan and I will be presenting for you the film and music show on USA Global TV and Radio. So good evening to our viewers on USA Global TV and Radio, and also our YouTube viewers and Instagram, LinkedIn, LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So for this week's guest we have for the film and music, but before I bring him on, I just want to give you a little bit of a highlight of him, spotlight on him. Right, so he's a very, very dear friend. I've known this talented musician, creative genius, I will call him in every way, songwriter, artist. I've known him for about 16 years. I lived on Malta and we worked on a few projects. We were in bands together, we've done festivals together, and also with my book, Star Child here, the actual musical and the audio book, our guest today, which I'm going to reveal his name, wrote the music interludes on guitar for the audio book and for the musical. So, as I was saying, I've known him since he was, a mayor. I don't know whether he's going to like it if I say this. I've known him since he was 16. He's now in his 30s. Was it 30s? Yeah, late 20s, sorry. And he's all the way from Malta, a beautiful island buzzing with creativity and heritage. It's a beautiful place. It's a place of heritage, Mediterranean, going out to party, relaxing in the sun. It has everything, and temples as well. But that's where I met the lovely, his name is James Bartolo, but his artist name is Jimmy Bartolo. He's a musician, a phenomenal musician, guitarist, songwriter, producer, engineer. He does the whole thing. He's like a whole power. And he has his own record label, and he's also an artist out there as well. So for the film and music show for this week, can we bring on the wonderfully talented Jimmy Bartolo?
Are we on?
Hello, Jimmy.
Hey, Maddie. It's good to see you.
It's been a while. So
It has. Thanks for having me on this. What a pleasure. What a treat.
Well, I've been asking you for ages, and I know it's about having the time, and I know you've been exceptionally busy. You're so creative. But for our audience, Jimmy, can you give almost like a 2-minute express of who you are, what you do, and we'll go on from there.
Okay, well, oh wow, 2 minutes. Well, I think you said it best, because when we met, and I think I was about 16, but I had started playing when I was about 10. So let's say, but 5 of those years or whatever were just spent practicing and nerding out and playing guitar. And when you caught me at a time when I was just starting to get into the pub scene in Malta, and there's a hell of a lot of them here. So, I mean, we did a ton of gigs together. we worked with all kinds of different people, and I got my sort of playing chops in that circuit. So playing the pubs, pretty much saying yes to anybody that would ask me to play with them. Learn how to play a lot of the stuff by ear, playing the circuits, the clubs, weddings, you name it. No bar mitzvahs yet, but lots of different environments that allowed me to just play electric guitar and acoustic guitar. So there's a lot of years of that. And to just cut a long story short, I guess, at some point, I really started getting into the studio playing and what a studio requires out of a guitarist or out of a musician. And the reason I got into that was through actually a common friend of ours as well, named Martin McNeil. And his songwriting and his producer friend, Mark McRae, really inspired me when I was working on that album with him. I was just sort of brought in to play some guitar. But that really inspired me a lot on what it is exactly a team should be when it comes to, let's say, a songwriter working with a producer or mixing engine or whatever, it was just the whole works, that whole experience. Either way, fast forward, 10 years, I guess, because I was about 20 when I did that. Along the way, I was planning on making a living abroad. I had intentions of moving to the States or even to Canada. I've got a bunch of friends there. I played a few shows there as well with a lot of people. So it seemed right. And then we thought about Berlin. I was thinking about maybe moving to Berlin. But at some point, I think I was about 28 or 30, I decided to give my everything that I have, or every bit of energy that I have, to the music scene here in Malta and to the songwriters that I was starting to meet and to the band that I play in as well. That was a huge inspiration. It really showed me that we have a lot to offer here. And it would have seemed like a little bit of a mistake for me to just leave and just go and be in somebody else's scene. It just seemed more exciting to sort of start something here that's never been done before, or that maybe hasn't been done before in a long time. And that's where this little record label came in, to work with musicians and artists and songwriters that are predominantly writing in our language, which is Maltese. That I think that kind of bubbles it up. And then, of course, because of that, I would, and because of that, that's my focus mostly is on recording and, as you said, engineering, which is just what you have to do nowadays if you want to run a studio on your own. I don't run it on my own. I run it with John, my brother, who is sort of the other half of all this craziness that goes on. But every year there's just something new that I'm like, okay, best learn how to do this, best learn, it's a huge learning curve every year.
Well, I've got to say, Jimmy, honestly, I've got to congratulate you, because I think that you've just went through the whole scope of your journey, of your music path, of your journey.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. Honestly, give you a clap for that. Big time praise. So, Jimmy, we're going to go in a time machine, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go right to the point of when you were 10 years old.
Okay.
What music or artists inspired you to pick up the guitar and want to play?
Oh, okay. Well, that's very easy, because first of all, most importantly, is that my mom was raised in Detroit. She was born in Toronto, but she was raised in Detroit. Then when they were older, they started going to school in Detroit, and sort of, I think, mid-teens to late teens, they were in Detroit. So she got to see a lot of the bands that were passing through at that time. You name it, Zeppelin, T-Rex, Bowie, anyone that was passing through. So when she came to Malta, of course, she brought that influence with her. And my dad is, brought up in Malta and Maltese, but he was just still really into music. And both of their record collections, well, actually cassettes, because that's what we were listening to then. This was even before we started getting a lot of CDs. This was just cassettes at the time. They both had really good cassettes that I would be able to listen to, of course. And they would encourage me, and they had no problem with me blasting out the you know, levels of whatever on the speakers. There was never ever a situation where it's like, oh, you're playing that thing too loud. Never. Not with me, not with John. We were just always encouraged to do it. And my mom had a classical guitar in the house as well, because she had tried to pick up the guitar. So that was it. It was just like, I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do, because there's a guitar here. And I love this music that I'm listening to, which is, you know, I mean, when you're at that age, you're listening to your parents' music. So there was, you know, let's see, the big one was Queen's Greatest Hits, for sure. I think that was either my mom's or dad's. There was a Jesus Christ Superstar cassette as well, which I played over and over again. Like, I know all those licks by heart. And then just lots of other stuff. Again, there was T-Rex for sure. You know, there was Bowie, Zeppelin, lots of Zeppelin on cassettes. So that was it. There wasn't anything. I connected with their music right away. And I think, you know, it just seemed like the most natural thing to do. And there was a guitar there, like I said. So I was like, all right, that's it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, what a fantastic background of music, and the fact that your parents have really supported you along the way.
Yeah. You bet.
All the way.
You bet. They still do. I mean, it's a very lucky and good situation to be in, you know.
So would you say that you come from a music orientated family?
I wouldn't say no. I mean, we do have, for example, two of my cousins, Julia and Chris, they both play in a quite a popular doom metal band. They're very musical, and you know, and which comes from their father, who's my uncle. I had heard, because I didn't know my grandfather from my mother's side. I didn't know her dad, but he was a drummer. And of course, John plays drums. My brother, he's a drummer now. But other than that, I might be missing a few people here and there. But other than that, we're not like super, you know, crazy musical. I mean, we have another cousin in the States who is a drummer. His name is Joey Fava, and his dad is a drummer. So I think they pick it up from that side of the family or the pond or whatever, from my mom's dad. Other than that, though, it's not like, you know, I mean, mom's learning how to play piano now, actually. And she's
That's
pretty
wonderful.
damn good.
I find it amazing. And how old is
your mom? Damn good.
She's amazing, isn't she?
Yeah, tell you what, she's at, let's just say this. She's at that age where people say, oh, well, it's too late to learn piano. It's not too late. It's never too late. And she's just proving it right now. So, you know, so maybe we are but maybe, you know, again, my dad, like I said, he doesn't play an instrument, but was always just really into, you know, music. And he, you know, he would introduce me to other stuff like Italian music as well, which was not something my mom. So it was just a big fusion of things that I would just accept and listen to, you know. But other than that, I can't. You know, maybe there's a cousin here and there that plays, but other than that, it's pretty much just us and our cassettes at that time.
Well, those cassettes, even, you know, have a lot to be thankful for.
Oh yeah, I know, I do. I still have them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jimmy, being a musician and being in various bands, what did you feel there was the highs and the lows?
So
being in a band.
The thing is, I mean, there's always going to be both of those for sure, because if you're in a band and there aren't any lows, then I think there's a problem. Then either probably everybody isn't really speaking their mind, or maybe somebody just isn't, or somebody's being a little bit too maybe passive aggressive. Is that the word? Maybe passive aggressive. But at the end of this, so let's start with the best part of being in bands, because even the band that I'm currently in, which is my main band, you know, I joined 2 albums later. But the frontman of this band, Mario, who is now like really and I don't think I would be doing all this recording and production in Malta if it wasn't for him. He really sort of recommended people in our circuit that they talk to me when it comes to working on their new material. So So that's already the great thing about being in a band, is if you give something to something with other people, it's always bound to come back to you one way or another, because that's what music is at the end of the day, right? It's about doing it with people. I love playing solo. I love doing solo shows, and I sometimes do enjoy watching people play solo. But when you have a clique of people that just get each other and get each other's humor and are able to put up with each other's, how can I say this, each other's difficult sides as well, because we all have that. No matter what, everybody has something difficult that is just not pleasant for other people. It's just, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. It's just the best thing. It's what you do this for. And that's why I love production, is because I can get into that even further with maybe songwriters who don't have their own band, but I get to sort of make this band for them and introduce them to other players. So that's always a plus. The lows, that's all dependent, I think, on how people manage to put up with each other, because if people don't speak their mind, and let's say, in a band, if you have so many people, and if somebody doesn't speak their mind, or if somebody is maybe, wants to get maybe their song heard, wants to get their ideas heard, but it's maybe the communication isn't very good, then that can fester into something very unpleasant. And, not everybody is able to just speak up. And I think that's when things can get pretty bad. It's very important to be open with each other. It's very important to know whose role is what in the band as a musician, because actually, I think that's it. I think so long as everybody's clear with what they're doing in the band, then you're probably going to avoid a lot of those lows. But if one of the musicians secretly wants to be the lead songwriter but doesn't say it, that's going to be a bit of a problem then.
So my next question, sorry, Jimmy. My next question, the way that you said everyone has a role. So for anyone out there who's starting a band, how would you kind of explain to them what roles do you have in a band?
Well, it's very simple, I think. And the more I do this, the more I'm like, oh yeah, wait, it's that simple. First of all, it's very rare, I think, that you're going to get 4 kids or guys or girls or whatever to sit in a room and write a song together. So if anybody is trying to do that and you're wondering why the song isn't coming together very well, maybe you should just stop there and don't do that anymore, because it's very unlikely that all 4 people or 5 or 7 or whatever, or 3 are going to have the same thought about the song. So first, number one role is songwriter. Who is the songwriter? And that's kind of what we have with our band, is that Mario is the main songwriter of Raccoon. That's the name of our band. So, and also, goes without saying, is that he has more or less the final say in what the song should sound like in the end. It's not to say it's like that's it. He's like, I don't want anybody's opinion. That's what we're there for. So then our roles. So first of all, find out who's the songwriter, or maybe it's a songwriting team. Lennon McCartney. Maybe it's a duo songwriting team. So figure out who's writing the better songs. And if that person is writing the better songs, then they're the songwriter. And then you have people that are very good at arranging. And that's what I found that I'm pretty good at, is that so Mario or anybody else on my label will come to me with a song, with the chords on their guitar, and say, here's what I got. And I would be the kind of person most of the time, and I do this a lot in my productions, is I say, okay, great, that's a great song. But how about we speed the tempo up? And how about we turn it into a bit of a disco? And how about we try this? And how about we add another chorus? So I'm not the songwriter, but I'm just getting that to a place where maybe people can dance to it more, if that's what the songwriter wants. And then again, in a band, you have just like, again, that's why I love working with John, because John isn't the kind of drummer that's going to say, oh, I want to put all my flashy stuff on this song. He knows that his role is to keep that beat, and whatever we ask him to do, he just does. And then he comes up with parts, but he's also just very good at just sitting and just in the rehearsal room, just sitting and just waiting and saying, okay, cool, here we go, let's try this. And more or less, the rest of the band members do the same thing. And then obviously it depends on where you want your band to go. Maybe if your band has ambitions of touring. I remember with my metal band, this was quite a while ago, I was 19. I remember the bass player, his role, he just said, you know what, guys, I don't do a lot of the writing. I don't do a lot of, he says, my parts are pretty easy in the rehearsal space. And he booked us a freaking tour. He's the one who did it. You know, and I actually, now that I think of it, I think that was pretty cool. I mean, it was only like a week, but we hit about 5 different countries or 6 different countries in a week. But again, I think we just had good communication. He knew he wasn't the creative side, so he just focused on other things. And I know I'm a songwriter, but I don't write in Maltese. So obviously I'm not going to write lyrics in Maltese. So I know that my role is in that thing. And now I mostly produce. So now I'm a producer. But again, I think so long as everybody is keeping the communication open, I don't think there's any limit to what you can do in a band or what the roles could be. So long as it's all for the common goal, I guess, right?
Yeah, Jimmy, that's great gems. I would say absolute gems. Anyone who wants to start a band, please get in contact with Jimmy, because he's really great consultant for that as well.
I'll tell you what not to do as well.
Exactly. Plus, what's great about it is that you give people opportunities and the space to fill their creativity or their potential. That's amazing, Jimmy.
Because especially, I mean, you know this as well. You know this, better than me for sure, because you've been doing this longer than I have. When you have an idea, if you have an idea, you need people to support you, definitely. But those people also can't be the ones sort of grabbing on your idea so much where they're trying to change it. Otherwise, it doesn't belong to you anymore. And so it's very important that you work with the right people, and you work with the people whose opinions you trust, who aren't just, trying to change your song just because they like reggae, but because they, I don't know, for example, want to turn it, because, there's good intentions. And again, if the band is, that's sort of the unspoken agreement we have between us as a band. And it seems to work. It seems to work pretty well so far.
Well, I think you've got it spot on in every way. So, Jimmy, let's go to the present day now. Okay. So, with all the experience that you have, picked up and learned, and the lessons, and adding new extensions and evolving and adding special, making it more your, how can I say, more your identity. The Jimmy Bartolo way, really. Yeah. So for all that you've learned, you've then now jumbled it up and brought out a formula, which is Jimmy Bartolo. So you're the founder of Ultra Low Music, the record label in Malta. Yeah. So I'm going to ask our producer for today, the lovely Heather. Heather, could you please bring up Ultra Low Music, the website, please? And Jimmy, I'd like you to explain it to our viewers.
Sure.
What's going on, what it's all about, Ultra Low Music and everything. So as she's bringing this up, the floor is yours.
Okay. Oh, I'll talk about it now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's funny that you say my identity, because it actually is. But the reason I got this sort of identity was because of the artists that make up this record label. Which one of them is my band. There's Cher Camilleri over there. There's The second one, the dark looking cover, that's Does Birthday Girl. Her name is Martha Thelma. She's in Berlin. She's based in Berlin, but she's Maltese. We release a lot of stuff. There's Sean Borge next to her. There's a duet that we did with our band and Cher Camilleri as well. And there's also a couple other artists. There's Kim Pepe. We do a lot of work. Michael Atsopardi, we've got a new album coming out this year. And a new artist named Lara Zamit, which I'm actually working on her stuff as we speak, or at least I should be working on it now. And this thing came about because of, I mean, remember when I told you about that I was moving abroad? I was trying to live in Berlin or in other places, I always have, you always had to fit in to their scene. You have to adapt. You have to make friends there, and you have to become sort of part. You'll have your own identity, but you have to fit in. And I was just getting a bit tired of that. And when I came back to Malta to sort of settle a little bit more, this idea came about because I was just loving the shows that I was doing with my band, with Bracuni, and the following that we have. And personally, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if I could do more of this all of the time? And again, through Mario, thanks to him, he just recommended, he started by recommending Kim. There she is right now. And after that, there was Michael. And then after that, there was Cher. And all of a sudden, I had, started building up a little roster of artists who write in Maltese, with the exception of Martha. But, I always like to try different things and work on music that I think is just good for the label. But it's funny. It's like they helped me create my identity, because even though I'm Maltese, my first language and my preferred language of choice is English. But I am Maltese. That's it. I obviously speak in Maltese as well, but I don't write in Maltese. And having them write all this music and then come to me and trust me with the productions and the arranging and the releasing, it's like this thing that I've been missing all my life, which was to be a part of something in Malta and pay tribute, I guess. If that's I guess it is paying tribute to what we have to offer here.
Yeah.
It took me long enough to figure it out, but it's funny. It's through them that I'm getting this identity. So it's collaboration. That's what music's all about, right?
What I'm sensing is a beautiful balance of two worlds.
Oh yeah,
because you're Canadian from the States.
You
live in Malta, and both of your parents are Maltese. So it's almost you're bringing it back home. You're bringing it back home, which is Malta.
Exactly. I mean, the only connection to Canada is just my mom was born there, but I've never actually been to Canada. Funnily enough, it's just I just sound this way. I don't know why. Everybody tells me, they say, "Oh, you're from Canada." I said, "No, sorry, I'm Maltese. I just sound this way." So it's weird. Maybe because of this, I grew up with an identity crisis, and maybe that's why I needed to do this label, to do something that reminds people that I'm Maltese. Maybe that's what it is.
And Jimmy, going back to your label, Ultra Low Music, for our viewers, what style of music do you mainly focus on for the label?
Wow, that's actually, I've never really thought about that because here's the thing. I mean, you know Malta. You remember Malta. You know how small it is. It's so tiny. We do have bands. We have bands, we have rock bands, and that's cool. I do like that stuff. Even us as a band, we're a band at the end of the day. But the music that I work on mostly, because Michael, Kim, Cher, Martha, aka Does Birthday Girl, and now Lara, so all the artists under the label, apart from Bracuni, which is my band, is a solo songwriter, a solo artist. So the music that they want to make is the music that I'm going to put out. So if one of the artists comes to me and says, "Hey, I got this song and I want it to be a little bit, I want this sort of, I don't know, Mac DeMarco, quirky thing, then that's what I'm going to do. If one of them,
sorry, Jimmy. Our viewers, if viewers don't know, I personally don't know Mac DeMarco. Is that a style?
Okay.
Or
So Mac DeMarco is a songwriter from Canada. Funny enough, I know actually I do know some Canadian musicians, and he's just got a very particular sound. It's kind of, if you don't know him, Mac DeMarco, look him up. He's one of our favorites for sure. And he's just got a very particular way. Nothing crazy, nothing complicated, just a very particular sound. So, for example, Michael at Sopardi is really into Mac DeMarco. So I remember on his first EP, I tried to put in as much of that as possible. So the music came out like this weird Maltese mix of Mac DeMarco meets, Beatles, because he loves the Beatles, kind of rocky, but not, it's difficult to say what genre because it's all up to the songwriter. We venture into all kinds of stuff. Cher Camilleri really loves electronic music. So we do a lot of electronic stuff, but she's also very open to when I start slamming some heavy metal guitars on her electronic stuff. and it's in Maltese. And then Kim is really, into Italian disco. So she introduces me to a lot of that. So there's actually not, so long as I just came up with this rule. I said, so long as it's Maltese, or at least 90% of the music we put out is in Maltese, because like I said, Das Birthday Girl, Martha Thelma, she writes in English, but she's Maltese. And at the end of the day, we're a bilingual country. So we are going to put out music in English. I focus mostly on the language as opposed to the genre, and let the label sort of just host all this stuff that maybe wouldn't find a home anywhere else, to be honest.
Yeah, I love that, Jimmy. I think it's wonderful. I think it's fantastic the way that you sign singer-songwriters, but you allow the space for them to, instead of a normal record label where you're a puppet, you're allowing them to be a creative freedom, but to the point where you can help them to enhance it.
Oh, absolutely. At the end of the day,
it's beautiful.
My service is to them, and that's it,
Yeah.
So whatever they say. If one of them wants to release a heavy metal record next year, then that's what I'm going to do.
Well, you know what, Jimmy? When I was over living in Malta, there was a lot of like Maltese folk songs. Like, why do you turn one of those into a dance song?
So actually,
really
there is
put it into a dance song.
There is a little something in the works, probably for 2026, actually. With an artist, with a very incredibly talented singer, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. Maybe we'll be able to work on something together. But yeah, absolutely. There's so much untouched ground when it comes to Maltese music.
Yes.
So at this stage, I'm just like, bring everything in and let's just see what we can do. Everything,
Jimmy, you're an absolute fresh. You're fresh. You're completely refreshing. And amazing to hear, to speak with. You're a wonderful interview as well. Really is. Also, we're going to be having part 2, Jimmy, on Ultra, on your label. So what are you going to do? We're going to bring some of your artists. We're going to bring some of your artists. That's upon your own discretion. Yeah, we want to hear from them. It would be lovely for part 2. I wish that this was longer, because 40 minutes go so quick.
You're right. You're right. Like, freaking flew by. I'm looking at the watch now. That's crazy.
Madness,
then again, we haven't caught up in a while.
That's true. Anyway, you got to say hello to your mom. She's amazing. She's
amazing. You bet. I will.
Lovely Kathy. Kathy's lovely. And to your dad as well. And to John.
You bet. Oh, yeah, he's around there somewhere in the back.
Oh, is it? Oh, my gosh. Wait till we get John on this show. We're talking about his filming. Anyway, Jimmy, before we go.
Absolutely.
Where can people contact you? Who would you like for people to contact you? What? If you were to offer a service, who would you like for them to contact you?
Sure. Well, the best way to contact me is via email. I am on Instagram, I think that, yeah, the links are there. I do have Instagram, and I am being better. I'm checking it. I was a little bit bad with it before, but you know, you can contact me on Instagram. I do check the ultra low pages because it's pretty much, I do have a bit of help running this label, but mostly it's me taking care of it. So I do check the social media, but also you can check out the website, just ultralowmusic.com. You can check pretty much everything that we do. Eventually, there's going to be a page dedicated to what our studio looks like. You don't get to see much of it here. This is just one of the rooms. But, you know, if you want to get in touch and just say hi, there's my email on the website, or just, you know, social media, 2025 style, I guess, and just get in touch. I'm pretty, you know, I'm getting much better at just looking at my messages now. You know, and I'm
That's
trying
because
not
you're
to
forever in the studio.
Absolutely.
Jimmy,
Absolutely.
one last question. When
Yeah.
you're a struggling musician, when you want to get into the industry or go on tour or anything like that, for anyone, have you got any wisdom for them in the space of, I don't know, 2 minutes?
So here's the thing. Okay, well, the thing is that it's always a struggle, because when it comes to music, and they're all different struggles. It's not the same. So, for example, in my case, my biggest struggle was actually with this identity thing. Funny, the way you said it actually makes perfect sense. It was an identity. I was trying to be, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went and played at all these different places. You know, and did a few stints in the US, which was just playing a few shows and playing on albums that didn't offer any payment, but I just wanted to be a part of it because it was a freaking really good album, and that gave me a lot of chops. So financially, it was a real big struggle. Like, my 20s was not stable at all. But, you know, that balanced out with getting a lot of work and meeting a lot of people, becoming very confident as a player. So that helped. I guess if I was to go back and give myself advice, be as versatile as you possibly can be, as quick as you can possibly be. So, for example, me, I didn't start singing, like really singing, until I was about 27, I think. Which, if I could go back, I'd be like, man, just go back and sing as soon as you're starting to play guitar. You might not have the best voice, but you'll be able to get work as a solo artist, like in a pub. Most of my work now, as like acoustic guitar work, I do solo, because most bars can't afford to pay 2 people or 3 people. So that makes it so my work has increased a lot. I work in the studio, obviously, but also I play live quite a bit. I play all kinds of different genres, you know, funk, this, name it. You know, try not to say no to things that are going to offer you work, you know, and don't deny work because you think it's artistically, you know, beneath you. Just accept, say yes. You're going to learn from everything. If you play a wedding, you're going to learn from it. If you play in a, you know, polka band, you're going to learn from that. Say yes. You know, I heard somebody, he said there's only one answer in show business, and that's yes. And that, you know, I think that's just the best way, because if you do that, you will have venues open up, and maybe a different venue that you didn't expect will open up. And I mean, that's why I'm here.
Well, Jimmy, we absolutely love your humility. You're exceptionally talented artist, music producer, songwriter, arranger, record label owner. My goodness, I'm sure there's more to add. Teacher.
Well, again, it's just saying yes to everything.
I'm rolling it. I'm giving it to you.
And we get to chat about it. So yeah, I must have done something right for now, but it feels good to do it, you know. But yeah. I didn't expect my 30s to be like this. If you would have asked me 20 years ago, saying, what, you know, are you going to be in Malta in your 30s? I said, no. I would have said, no, I'm going to be in freaking America touring with ZZ Top or something. I don't know.
Well,
That's it.
We're going to have to leave it there, Jimmy, because we're going into 40 now, 40
Absolutely.
minutes. So please do come back for part 2 on
Brilliant.
Ultra Low
Brilliant.
Music, and bring some of your artists and share with the world their music
Can't
and your
wait.
music. All right.
Can't wait.
See you next time, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there you go, everyone. My name's Dr. Madalene Chan, and we're going to have to close now. So I want to say thank you to our main sponsor, Audi K Barrier. Thank you to the lovely producer, Heather, today. Thank you to USA Global TV and radio viewers. And we'll see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Okay, and 3 p.m. CT. Okay, bye.
Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void?